All right, hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy, and today we just got 2 minutes ago patch notes with Revenant release version 0.3 patch notes locked and loaded, releasing this Tuesday, January 24th. We're sharing the patch notes ahead of time, so check out the highlights below and then head over. I don't actually want to look at the highlights. I mean, we see some highlights, and yeah, so let's go on ahead and take a look at it. I don't even want to think about that yet. So get ready, folks. Predecessor first major update of 2023 is nearly here, and with it comes some epic changes. We're set to launch patch V0.3 this Tuesday, January 24th, and we're thrilled to share ahead of time everything you can expect to find in it. One of the main focuses of this patch is to empower mages. Interesting. We want to make them feel stronger before they even get their first item without changing their late game power. The goal here is making the play mages more impactful and rewarding, especially in the early game. I think that this is really dangerous. Mages are really good right now, so I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I guess we'll see. That's really interesting. Okay, well, that's not all. We've got some great new game improvements coming your way with 2 new post-match screens and some weekly leaderboards for you to sink your teeth into. Let's not overlook the bounty hunter in the room. Revenant is finally here. Nice. This all sounds really great. Speaking of additions, we've also slipped in a new mouse sensitivity setting, so be sure to tweak this to your liking ahead of your next game. Interesting. But wait, there's more. We're already hard at work on patch 0.4, where we'll be making changes to ADC itemization as well as improving ranged auto attacks. Very cool. Plus, you'll be thrilled to hear that we're also working on adding AI game mode, but more on that closer to that time. This all sounds great. It all sounds like they're making consistent strides towards improvement to the game. Last but not least, we're looking to make our update schedule more consistent going forward. We're aiming to deliver patches every 2 weeks. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. Alternating between balance patches and our bigger content patches. This cadence might still change, but for now our goal is to ensure a steady flow of content and improvements that you can more easily predict and plan around. This is amazing. This is just the beginning of what's to come in 2023. We can't wait to hear what we have in store. Can't wait for you to hear what we have in store, to hear your feedback. Get ready for an exciting year of updates and improvements. Blood Mortius. Awesome, Blood Mortius. Big love to you and the dev team. New hero appears. The ritual have been performed. The payment has been taken. The fearsome bounty hunter has been awoken, determined to pursue and punish those responsible for the destruction of his homeland. Very cool. Revenant. Very cool. Revenant abilities. Passive bounty hunter. Revenant starts with a rank of Hellfire rounds. He does not shoot faster with attack speed, but does gain 5% plus 1.5% per level, plus 0.1% per crit strike chance, increased total physical power. When Revenant kills an enemy hero, he will gain 50 plus 25 per bounty stack additional gold. So is this just like, this is just a flat rule? He does not shoot faster with attack speed, but does gain if that's just like a flat rule, then you're going to end up going like a resolution mana stacking kind of build, because you can raise your crit chance and get really like powerful and hit really hard, something like that, I think. Primary ability Q, obliterate. CDR is 12 down to 8, cost 70 effect. Revenant unleashes 10 ethereal missiles that hone in and hit random targets within a wide cone, dealing 60 to 160 plus 50% bonus physical power plus 75 magical power, physical damage per missile. Interesting. Very interesting. Physical damage per missile. Landing subsequent hits against enemy heroes deal 15% extra damage. Second ability, E Scar. 20 CD down to 16, cost 60 up to 80. Effect, Revenant launches a dark projectile that marks the first enemy target it hits, dealing 10 up to 70 damage flat, plus 50% bonus physical power, physical damage, and applying a scar that lasts for 5 seconds. The next 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 instances of damage dealt to this target by Revenant apply a 5% stacking slow for 1.25 seconds and a deal 15% bonus magic damage. This sounds really strong. This definitely sounds like something you're going to want to max, because you can increase the instances of damage that you can apply to them while raising the damage of this and lowering the cooldown. So that sounds really interesting. Alternate ability, right mouse button, Hellfire rounds, 2-second cooldown, 0 cost. Effect, passive. Revenant's Force Shot always critically strikes, as well as dealing 6% plus 0.5% per Revenant's level of the target's missing health as bonus physical damage. Revenant's critical bonus damage is modified to 125 up to 175%. Wow, this character sounds really strong. Ultimate ability is Reckoning. CD is 140 down to 100, cost 100 effect. Revenant pulls himself and his target into the Nether Realm for 6, 7, 8 seconds, rooting the target for 0.5 seconds. Killing his opponent inside the Nether Realm will double the bonus gold gained from Bounty Hunter. Okay, Revenant sounds nuts. I mean, he just sounds really strong. Sounds like he's going to be a very interesting Hero. Okay. Major improvements, profile tab and early access icons. Here we go. We got some profile stuff. Early access icons are here. You'll notice that there is a new profile tab in the top bar of the main menu. This is where you can change and display your profile icon with the initial selection available to you depending on which early access bundle you have. You might even spot a sneak peek at some profile related customization features that are coming in the future update. So we have borders, titles, profile, background. Very, very cool. And that's like, you can see this is like a really basic looking border here. It's really bare bones, but cool. We're getting some profile. We're getting customization. These are like the, the bells and whistle of the game, the bells and whistles of the game that we want to see. Creep score bounties. This patch we're introducing creep score bounties. These are designed to remove situations where teams are not rewarded enough gold when killing an enemy hero from a significant deficit. This is normally because the enemy heroes have gained significant amount of power creep score, CS, relative to your team's average. Before we only accounted for hero kill streak in the bounty system, now these enemy heroes will also increase the same bounty through the amount of creep score. So basically it's a catch-up mechanic, which I think is really nice. They have relative to your team. This will allow us to reward players that are significantly behind in economy from multiple sources to come back into the game through enemy misplays. New post-match screens. Ooh, very, very cool. We're adding 2 post-match screens in this update. The first screen will allow you to add players after a match. Why not start grouping up with teammates that you enjoy playing with after a great game. The other new screen is a post-match statistics screen, allowing you to dive deeper into those juicy statistics from your match. So we have combat, KDA, largest killing spree, largest multi-kill, damage done, or damage dealt, physical damage to heroes, magic damage to heroes, true damage to heroes, and then it actually scrolls down. So there's going to be more stats that we can't even see. This looks very nice. It looks good. It's that bit of extra information that we want to know, right? How much damage am I actually doing in a game? Can I test a game and see, or test a build and see what it looks like on average? And this just looks clean. This looks really, really, really clean. I like this. I'm very, very excited about this. These images just look really clean. Weekly leaderboards. Each week we'll be sharing a leaderboard showcasing the top 100 players. Initially, this will be shared on social media, but as we continue to develop the feature, we plan to integrate it directly into the game so the players can easily compare their rankings with others. To qualify for leaderboard, players must compete a minimum of 10 games per week. Sounds cool. We already kind of have like a website that's kind of doing that, but I mean, maybe this will be more accurate, and then eventually they're going to put it in game, which I always think is nice. End of match summary or survey. We're adding a short survey to the end of the match that will require you to give us some feedback on your previous game. The data will help us monitor overall and individual community response to the matches on a daily basis, something that will help us understand what's going on as well as what we can improve. We appreciate you taking the time to fill it out. Always appreciate appreciate the devs and want to give them that feedback. So matchmaking improvements and bug fixes. Since Predecessor launched, we have been monitoring the matchmaking system closely and have identified multiple bugs that we believe have impacted match quality. This patch brings a number of fixes to these issues, and we hope that we'll see improvements to match quality as a result. This patch also introduced one of our first improvements to our matchmaking system, the party modifier. Now when queuing up with the game, the MMR of everyone in the party will be inflated based on the size of the party to compensate for the increased coordination and resulting win chance that parties typically have. Oh wow, that's nice. So it's like, hey, even if you're a 5-stack, we're going to up your MMR quite a bit because you have a higher probability of winning. So that's pretty nice. Matchmaking bugs. Fix the bugs where player would gain or lose large amounts of MMR after a match the server failed to return the player's MMR. So I actually got this bug and got to provide a little bit of details to the devs where basically, we had seen a spike in my actual account and it was like not supposed to happen, and then we got to report that to the devs and got hopefully some good info to them. Fixed a bug where players could join a queue and incorrectly enter the wrong matchmaking bracket. Interesting. Okay. Fixed a bug where players outside of matchmaking bracket could be pulled into the bucket during the matchmaking process. Penalty system improvements. Okay. Also in the patch, we're making improvements to our penalty system. First, we're separating auto banning for dodging a queue and going AFK in game, allowing us to be harsher with the scaling bans for players that go AFK in game. Secondly, we now have the ability to ban players from chat, one step among several that we're taking to tackle in-game toxicity. We're going to continue improving these systems over time, so expect to see more updates in the future. I got to be careful with this, man. I talk shit whenever I get a little triggered, so I usually keep my party chat off or my team chat off, so you might not be able to talk to me in game if I have my team chat off. Sorry about that. But let's look at the AFK penalties. It's first penalty 5 minutes up to 48 hours on 8th penalty, and then dodge queue is 1 minute down to 12 hours. So yeah, this makes sense, right? You don't need the same penalty for lesser infraction. Combating toxicity. Okay, here we go. Combating toxicity, improving chat quality is something incredibly important to us. With this in mind and in line with your feedback, we're taking some steps to improve chat moderation beginning this patch. Part of these improvements is the implementation of a new moderation tool. This tool will not only help us to better monitor chat logs and track disruptive users, but also impose snowballing sanctions based on repeat offenses. The system will take time to implement and iterate on, and will be actively improving as we go along benchmarks and player feedback. Additionally, we're also reviewing the Predecessor EULA alongside a brand new code of conduct that we hope to share soon, a set of community guidelines that will not only lay out the core pillars that guide our own thinking. So yeah, they just want to make chat better. I don't even really want to read the rest of it. They want to make chat better. I get it. Other improvements: updated the decal for Murdoch's static trap. Cool. Added missing sound effects that allied core to the allied core for when it was under attack. Cool. Updated Decker sound effects for when her basic attacks, rocket boots, footsteps, and stasis bomb. Changed the visual effects for when a player dies. Added hero names next to their portraits in draft and in collections. Updated Chimera's basic attack sound effects. Added a reject button to the match found prompt. Updated the desktop icon for Predecessor when installed via Epic Game Store. Added a new sensitivity scaling called ADS. Interesting. Countess audio improvements, updated controller key bindings of the settings menu. Controller support now includes scrolling with left and right triggers when using the virtual cursor. Party overview has moved to the right of the screen. This is a preparation for our larger UI overhaul we are currently working on, but more on that another day. Nice, very nice. Okay, so we got some balance changes now. This is a big patch. Holy. I just realized we're like halfway through it. Countess. We always felt that Countess should be starting blue buff in jungle, so we've updated her recommended path accordingly. Recommended jungle start updated to blue buff from red buff. Oh, that's funny. I mean, yeah, definitely, but she's not a jungler, right? So this is like, it's one of those things where like, I don't recommend you jungle her at all, but that's like more player driven than dev driven, so I guess that's fine. Fine change. Crunch is currently in a decent spot balance wise. We're looking to make his sustain only apply from hero combat to help address some abuse case that can still happen. Recrunch R passive healing no longer benefits from damaging minions. Okay, that's like it's like the tiniest of nerf, but sure. Okay, I think Crunch needs buffs, but that's whatever. Faye, or actually I think he might need small buffs, or he's like decently balanced. Faye, we're giving players a little bit more counterplay to Faye's ultimate so that we can increase the power budget of her overall kit. This will allow Faye to have bigger moments even without the use of fly trap, but also means she has to pay more attention to her opponent's cooldowns and abilities to escape said fly trap. Nice. So they're going to balance more into her kit and less out of her ultimate. Bramble patch Q base damage changed from 80 up to 240 to 90 up to 230. So it's getting some like early game buffs and then slight nerfs to late game. Cool. Harvest needles base damage increased from 60 early up to 180 to 70 early up to 210. Okay, so just like buffing the E. Scaling decreased though by 5%. Projectile speed increased. Nice. Okay. This is one of those things you have to just test it out and see how it feels. Bug trap on her R now correctly deals increased damage based on its level. Was it not doing that sometimes? Tentacle break distance decreased from 1750 to 1110. Ooh, so that like, ooh, that's a big hit. Faye, ooh, that, I mean, even with some of these other changes, this might hit Faye pretty hard. Pull delay increased from 0.6 seconds to 0.75 seconds. Okay, this might hit her pretty hard. That's a pretty substantial distance break. You're gonna have to be a lot more accurate with the ult, but also the ult is like not I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're landing it, then it's just like a net buff in a sense. It feels like it. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what we think about Faye. Once again, considering our general goals for mages, we're looking to increase Gideon's base damage and shift it away from his scaling. This should help make his early to mid game feel a little bit more impactful, as well as decrease his reliance on magical power. We hope that these changes open up more build paths for him, allowing players to feel more comfortable dipping into magical bruiser items to enable those big black hole moments. That's dangerous. We'll see what happens. Cosmic Rift Q base damage increased from 90 up to 310 to 100 up to 340. So that looks like a net buff across all levels. Yep. Scaling decreased by 5%. Void Breach right mouse button, scaling decreased by 5%, and then cooldown decreased from 9 seconds flat to 9 seconds down to 7 seconds. So we'll see how that hits Gideon as well. Howitzer's overall zoning potential has been very impressive, especially combined with his ability to nuke out individual targets. We're keeping his slow grenade damage relative, but decreasing the amount of grenade placing so that players can more easily navigate around or through them. So R2000 missile Q decreased R2000 missile delay after firing by 0.2 seconds. Slow grenades right mouse button, total amount decreased from 16 to 11. Grenades now have a tighter formation. Reduced base damage increased from 5 to 25 to 6 to 30. Reduced scaling increased from 4% to 6%. This wording confuses me. I don't understand it. This might be typos, but okay. Bellica felt a little too clunky after casting her Seismic Assault, so we're letting players move and cast a little quicker after casting to help her feel less like a sitting duck when finishing her big stuns. That's nice. So description fix, decreased lockout by 2.2 seconds on her Q, and then her drone bug fix, 20% scaling. I don't think it's going to help her too much, but it could definitely be you know, small quality of life fix that could bring some viability to her. All right, Alchemical Rod was stacking far too fast, and most players would have it fully stacked before even finishing Azure Core. We're slowing it down a little bit so that needs to scale into a 2-item spike rather than being too strong as a 1-item spike. Ah, man, I hate when they do this, just because, like, it's nice to be able to finish the rod and then move to another item and then come back to the core. But we'll see how that actually impacts it. They're cutting the mana stacking in half, so that could be a big hit to Alchemical Rod and Azure Core. We'll see. Bloodlust. The Bloodlust shared its name with Grux's passive, meaning it was overdue for a rebrand. Players should now be okay, so Bloodlust is Bloodletter. Okay, cool. That's fine. Mind Razor. This does indeed stack with Vanquisher. We're changing the passive name so that players who can... Okay, so this was the thing. I always wondered, was the stacking intentional because the names were the same? But it's fine. They're just rebranding the Arcane Power passive on this one to Arcane Strength. So it is supposed to stack, so that's totally fine. Astral Catalyst bug fix. Description now correctly states 3 stacks instead of 4 stacks. Azure Core, as previously mentioned, we're looking to open up the build options for first buy Soul Mages, so they just decreased it, so they're just showing the change to the actual item. Combustion has been overshadowed by other first buy items due to its inability to keep a mage in lane. We're giving it a little bit more mana to help players feel a little bit more comfortable. Oh, nice. That's a nice change for Combustion. That could actually make it pretty decent to give the extra 100 mana. Lifebinder. Ooh, Lifebinder again felt a bit too niche to fit into any builds reliably. Instead, we're looking to enable magical bruiser builds by giving them a new Capstone option. This newly improved Lifebinder should find a solid place as a 3rd or 4th slot for mages that build a bit more durable with items like Worldbreaker and Dreambinder. It also helps give Sevarog a new offensive option to scale into when he gains a lead. So magical power increased from 50 to 60, magical lifesteal reduced from 15% to 10%, tenacity removed, ability haste, or added 10 ability haste, recipe changed from Blood Tomb, Violet Brooch to Scepter, previously Blood Tomb, and Tenacious Drape. The passive change, remove Leech passive, new passive Vital Bond, gain plus 0.5% bonus health, ability haste per 50 magic power. Interesting. Okay. This looks like it could be like a Crunch, Sevarog, you know, maybe like tanky mage option. I need to like see it written out. I don't know why, like I have a hard time like imagining what exactly it's going to do. But it has good power on it. It lost some of its lifesteal, but that's fine. It has no more tenacity on it. And then it has this gain 0.5% bonus health ability haste per 50 magic power. So if you're building magic power, you're gaining ability haste, and then also based on having additional health, which you would only build this if you were doing some kind of like a bruisery build. All right, Golem's Gift. We're looking to shift some of Golem's Gift's power into its haste over raw power and armor. This should help feel a bit more utility-driven item in the final couple of slots for mages. Magical power decreased from 70 to 60, ability haste increased from 10 to 20, passive renamed from Artillery Golem to Stone Skin. Stone Skin passive, total magic power and physical armor decreased from 40 to 30. Stacks lost per physical damage instance received decrease from 10 to 6. Okay, so yeah, more haste and slightly less power, essentially. Oblivion Crown. Oblivion Crown was a bit too catch-all in its previous Capstone form, has no downtime as a spike. It also had no downtime as a spike, and so we're transitioning it to still be strong general use item, but with a burst damage focused niche. That should definitely be what it is, because it's burst damage because you up your power by a lot. The item should now find a more specific niche for heroes like Faye and Bellica, who look to blow a target up quickly during a particular window of opportunity. Annihilate magical power bonus decreased from 35% to 15%. Ooh, that's a huge hit. New passive, Oblivion. Your next instance of ability damage against an enemy hero will deal an additional 8% of their current health as magic damage and increase their magical damage taken by 10%. This feels really strong. Okay, this feels really, really strong. So we'll yeah. Yeah, okay. Prophecy, bug fix, collection description fix, 75% scaling to 60% scaling. Tainted Scepter. Most tainted items tend to naturally scale or have scaling of some form that makes them generally applicable across a game. Scepter, as true damage, does somewhat naturally scale, but the scaling is fairly minimal relative to others. We're adding a small magical power scaling to rectify this. So Malice base damage per stack decreased from 6 to 5. Malice 1% magic power per stack scaling added. Okay, so you just get a little bit more like power for actually needing to build a Tainted Scepter, as opposed to it just like needing to build it just for anti-healing only. Viper, fixed item description, gives the proper amount of physical power, 50 from 40. Leviathan, keeping our anti-heal item named to theme, so it's been called Tainted Bastion. Okay, so cool. Renamed it Tainted Bastion. We have a whole host of bug fixes. I'm probably going to read these on my own. Maybe. I mean, how long is this video? 20 minutes? Yeah, I'll probably read these on my own. But yeah, definitely check it out. check out the link in the description. And really interesting. The item changes, I think, let's quickly do like a quick recap of hero and item changes. I think the countess changes whatever. I think the crunch change is a little weird. I think that he needs slight buffs. The Faye change, I'm a little concerned about. We'll have to see how she actually feels, and if some of these buffs right here are enough to make up for like the nerf to her ultimate. And with Gideon, like tanky kind of Gideon gets played a decent amount, so it's interesting to see them raising the base scalings. And yeah, you need less power, because that's like kind of what a tanky Gideon build does. You don't really need that much power. You can go tanky. So they're kind of like buffing that in a sense. I don't know if that's intentional or not. This Howitzer change, I don't know. Seems interesting. I didn't like that the grenade field was all over the place, but I need to see like what it feels like. That's how a lot of these things feel to me. I don't think the Belka change is going to change too much. The Alchemical Rod, that's going to hit it quite a bit. It's just going to be a much slower spike for Alchemical Rod building into Azure Core. And then we got some rebranding of items. A Combustion change could be cool. Lifebinder, it's one of those things I need to see. Golem's Gift, I need to see it. And Oblivion Crown, I think this is going to be a very good item. So lots of magey changes in this patch. Very interesting. And then we have a lot of like UI improvements, like new screens and stuff like that. So friends, really excited about this patch. We got Revenant coming on Tuesday the 24th. Is that correct? Tuesday the 24th. So thank you so much for watching. Drop your thoughts in the comment section down below. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe for future Predecessor content. As always, be sure to be kind of one another. Tell someone you love them. And I'll see you on the next video.